Today, we're diving into a whole new way of thinking about aging. This isn't just about wrinkles or going gray. It's about the deep biological secrets to a long and healthy life, all based on some fascinating insights from molecular biologist Professor Marina Granovskaya. Okay, let's just jump right in with a question that I think drives a lot of us crazy. You know what the type, right? Someone who does everything right, eats clean, exercises, meditates, and they die young. And then you have someone else who seems to live on steak and cigars and lives to be 100. What is going on there? Well, according to Professor Granovskaya, the secret isn't just hiding in your salad bowl or on the treadmill. It's much, much deeper than that. The answer, she says, is in the incredibly complex and kind of hidden interplay between our body's core systems. Now, to really get our heads around this, we need to look at a model of how we function that's both thousands of years old and, as science is now finding out, shockingly accurate. It's this idea that we don't just have one brain, but three. Ancient Chinese wisdom had this beautiful way of putting it. The heart is the emperor, the head is the strategist, and the gut is the commander. Now, this isn't just some nice, poetic idea. It's turning out to be a powerful biological hierarchy that pretty much dictates our health. And here's the part that changes everything. The chain of command starts with the heart. It all begins with a belief. You have to believe in what you're doing. That belief, that's the emperor's decree. It then goes to your strategist, the brain in your head, which figures out a plan. And only then does the signal go down to the commander, your gut, to get the rest of the body to actually do it. When those three are aligned, you've got a rock-solid foundation for health. But what happens when that system gets out of whack? Well, Professor Granovskaya explains that the very first signs of trouble, the first real whispers of aging, they often start in a place you might not expect. Your gut. And we're not necessarily talking about the kind of dramatic allergy that gives you hives 2 seconds after you eat a peanut. No, we're talking about something way more sneaky, a hidden sensitivity. It's this silent, low-grade, chronic irritation from foods that creates what she calls a smoldering inflammation, just slowly grinding down your system for years or even decades without you knowing it. So this constant irritation in the gut, it makes it start sending out these little alarm signals. The molecules that carry these signals are called cytokines, and you can just think of them as frantic, all-caps text messages being blasted out from your gut to every other part of your body, basically screaming that something is wrong. And this is where a small, local problem becomes a massive, system-wide one. It starts in the gut, but those cytokine text messages get into the bloodstream, and from there, they start wreaking havoc, damaging the delicate lining of your blood vessels and even messing with the connections between your brain cells. That's how a gut problem can lead to things like anxiety or brain fog. Now, all this inflammation also launches an attack on our cellular power plants, the mitochondria. I mean, these are the little engines in literally every cell that generate all the energy your body needs to function, to repair itself, and to just live. And this brings us to a totally fascinating paradox. As we get older and our mitochondria get less efficient, our body kind of panics. It tries to fix the energy crisis by just making more mitochondria. The problem is, these new power plants are faulty. It's like trying to power a city by building thousands of old, broken-down factories that produce more toxic smoke than actual electricity. So you end up with this triple whammy of cellular disaster. First, there's all that toxic smoke, which we call oxidative stress. Second, you get a buildup of cellular sludge, things like the beta-amyloid plaques you hear about in brain health. And third, you start to burn through your body's emergency repair kit, your vital pool of stem cells. Okay, that all sounds pretty grim, I know. But hang on, because this is where the story gets incredibly hopeful and, frankly, empowering. It turns out you are not just a helpless passenger in this process. You can actually step in and help rewrite your own biological story. And the way you do this is through a field of science called epigenetics. The best way to think about it is this. If your DNA is a giant library full of instruction manuals, epigenetics doesn't change the books. Instead, it's like placing bookmarks on certain pages. It tells your body, hey, read this page, or, you know what, just skip this chapter. And if you think that sounds like some far-off science fiction, it's not. It's happening right now. For example, a Japanese study found that something as simple as eating 2 or 3 walnuts a day can actually place healthy bookmarks on the DNA of your gut cells. It literally tells them to read the pages for healthy function and to ignore the pages for inflammation. How cool is that?
Professor Granovskaya also points to this amazing molecular toolkit we can use, these little epigenetic editors. Things like coenzyme Q10 to basically supercharge your mitochondria, resveratrol to help keep your blood vessels healthy, and quercetin to arm your cell's defenses against invaders. And here we go again. We see this fascinating link between cutting-edge science and ancient practices. For instance, Chinese emperors were apparently treated with grapefruit juice to protect their health. Why? Well, we now know grapefruit is loaded with quercetin, one of those key molecules that helps defend our cells. They knew it worked, they just didn't know the molecular why yet.
But as powerful as these individual molecules are, the true secret to longevity, the ultimate elixir, if you will, goes even one level deeper.
It turns out that scientific studies keep confirming something we probably feel deep down. People with a strong sense of purpose, conductors, scientists, artists, creators, they just live longer. It's like their life has a rhythm, a pulse that mobilizes all their resources toward a meaningful goal. Which brings us all the way back to the main question: what is the real elixir of youth? Is it a supplement? Is it a diet? Is it walnuts?
The real answer, it seems, isn't something you can find in a pill or a superfood. The true elixir is the harmony, the symphony between your three brains: a believing heart, a strategic mind, and a healthy gut. All of it powered by a deep and driving sense of purpose.
And this is where the hard science almost touches on the philosophical. As Professor Granovskaya herself says, the deeper you dig into the tiny molecules that make up life, the more you see how elegant and perfectly tuned it all is. It almost makes you feel like, wow, this was all created with some incredible foresight. It definitely leaves you with a sense of wonder, doesn't it?